Alright, so I want to talk about a book recommended by Juggernaut Fitness, Jason Blaha, right here. The 48 Laws of Power. And there's a lot of interest on it because I just saw on his Facebook wall, he's mentioned it before in the past, and I kind of, I don't know, I've tried reading it before, like years ago, and I didn't find it very interesting, or at the time I didn't. Actually, like probably 8 or 10 years ago. I was much younger then. And I kind of like sort of the information that he shares, and I respect Jason Blaha's opinion, so I thought I'd take a look at the book and check it out. I'm using actually audible.com to do this video, or to listen to the book. I just listened to it, and there's already a really great part that I want to share with you. It's a really short segment, just 30 seconds long. Let me just play it right now.
The most important of these skills and power's crucial foundation is the ability to master your emotions. An emotional response to a situation is the single greatest barrier to power. A mistake that will cost you a lot more than any temporary satisfaction you might gain by expressing your feelings. Emotions cloud reason, and if you cannot see the situation clearly, you cannot prepare for and respond to it with any degree of control. Anger is the most destructive of emotional responses, for it clouds your vision the most. It also has a ripple effect that invariably makes situations less controllable and heightens your enemy's resolve.
So I wanted to share that excerpt with you because recently, in my last few days, or yesterday actually, or the day before maybe, depending on when I post this video, is I got really angry about some situation in my business or in my work that kind of irritated me, and it made me feel powerless. And interestingly enough, you know, this book kind of was mentioned in the fan page of Juggernaut Fitness, and I just thought I'd take a look at it again. And it's interesting because I was so angry, and you know, when you get mad, you end up thinking about doing some stupid ass shit, like you're trying to prove something to somebody, and in a lot of circumstances you think you're proving something to somebody, and all you're doing is you're just making it, you make it worse. And I wanted to share this with you because a lot of the time emotions do cloud our judgment, sometimes in a positive way and sometimes in a negative way, but it's just understanding how to use your emotions. And one of my other favorite books that I listened to was Rich Dad Poor Dad with Robert T. Kiyosaki. And he also talked about, you know, how you need to use your emotions to think. You need to be able to use your emotions to think and not think with your emotions. Because if you think with your emotions, they control you being out of control, making some bad decisions or rash decisions. But my point of just sharing this kind of concept, or this thing I just learned on the first chapter, basically the first 10 minutes of the book, is that learn how to use your emotions in the best possible way. And that's optimal situation. And you don't have to be a robot. Sometimes I can be like that. But like, for example, when you lift weights and you get strong and you want to frickin' pull 500 pounds off the ground, or you want to bench press a big number or squat a big number, I really think that if you can really amp yourself up and get angry and fucking pump yourself up and just fucking get mad and lift the weights, I think that's a totally good way to use anger. On the flip side, if you get angry because of a work situation and it makes you want to almost quit your job, I think that would be a very negative way of looking at things, or a negative outcome. So it's sort of like, you know, as I can tell by just listening to the book so far, why there was a lot of negative, so there was a few negative, I won't say a lot, but a few negative comments about the book and how it can seem kind of shady about manipulating people. And you know, I'm going to listen to it with an open mind. My goal is not to manipulate people, but I mean, you know, people have good information out there, and information can be used for good and it can be used for bad, just like money. Money is not evil. It just makes you more of who you are. Having more power, like being in a position of power, like a president or a CEO or whatever position you're in, makes you more of who you are. It shows a lot of your character flaws, you know, and it also shows a lot of your character, you know, positive traits of yourself. And sort of my point of sharing this information and talking about it is that, you know, it's important that you have good control over your emotions and use them for the most effective manner, because sometimes this is and I'm big kind of admission of guilt here when it comes to working out, as I just work out whatever I feel like working out for the day. And as great as that feels sometimes, and sometimes you get a chance to do that, over the long haul, it's not going to last you a long time, because when you focus on doing and following a well-rounded program, you minimize the chances of holes in your physique, in your strength, in your shortcomings. And when you think with a very clear mind and not just shoot from the hip every single time, you have just a little bit of, not a lot of planning, you don't have to plan every single segment, but if you have a little bit of planning in there and you put some thought into it and not use only your emotions to make a decision, I think you can get much further. I know you can get much further because essentially we all want to get to a certain point, or we want to become a stronger version of ourselves, as Elliot Hull says. But the next thing is kind of like what steps you're going to take. You may not necessarily know the exact path, but you should have a rough outline. I guess my point is that I want to share more about what I learned in this book, and I'm going to, if you've read this book or you're thinking about it, you can hear about me talking about it, because I think there's a big message there when it says anger clouds your judgment. So if you're angry, best to cool off before you make a very important decision.